Welcome back, it's Eddie here from Dahua Technical in Maidenhead. So today we are going to explain 3 different ways on how to do a firmware upgrade. First way, via USB. Second way, via web browsing into the backend of the recorder. And the third and final way, using the config tool that was designed by Dahua. And we will then show you all the necessary steps on how to get your firmware uploaded onto your recorder in a secure manner. So just click the relevant timecode below on which one you would like to see, whether it's USB, config tool, or web browsing. Yeah, let's get started. Today we're going to show you how to upgrade your firmware via a USB stick. So obviously I've already uploaded my firmware onto the USB stick, and all that we are going to do is plug it into the recorder, and you should get a pop-up notification on the screen to indicate where we need to go on the following step. So we're going to plug that in. Just give it a few seconds to read the USB. So you'll see it says file backup, log backup, config backup, and update. So we're going to go on update. We are then going to select update itself, and you should be able to see your file. If it doesn't show your file, it means your file has not uploaded properly onto the USB stick, or it's not in the correct format. So we are going to select our firmware. We are going to go OK, and the firmware update will start its procedure on getting the new firmware onto the recorder. This journey takes some time depending on which recorder you use. Some are faster than other, and once it's all done, the recorder is going to reboot, and we should have our new 2021 firmware uploaded onto the recorder safely. Almost done. So now our system will reboot. There we go. So at this point, I would leave the USB in just to make sure everything is finalized. You'll see once the system is powered back on, it will prompt us again with the same image where it will ask us to update or a log backup and everything. At that point, I would then remove the USB, knowing that it's then taken full effect on the recorder itself. So we're just going to wait for it to boot up properly. We should go into the live view now. So there we go. So it's presenting us with the same information when we put the USB in. We're just going to right click to get that message away. Take the USB out and just double check that our firmware has loaded onto our recorder properly. So we are going to take a look, and there we go. Our new firmware is on, and that's it. That's our firmware update via USB. So firmware. In order to update your firmware correctly, I'm going to show you a couple of steps what to look out for and how to do it. We are going to go to dahuasecurity.com. You are going to load up your page. This is what you would be presented with. So the first step that you want to make sure is that you are in the correct region. So if you are in any other country, Australia, Brazil, any other country, make sure that your region is correct. So anything for UK and Ireland will fall under UK and Ireland English. There are different form factors and protocols on firmware, so make sure that you are under the correct region. So what we are going to do is we're going to go to the right hand side where you see the search icon, enter. So you want to make sure to type in the full model of your recorder. So NVR 5216-16P-I, and you will be presented with the actual recorder itself. So now it gives you a full description. You've got your datasheet, user manual, drawings, A&E documents, and firmware. You click on firmware, it will present you with the latest available firmware. If you don't have this in the box and the box is completely empty, it means that that device is, number one, too new and there is no firmware uploaded as of yet, or it is too old and they've started discontinuing the firmware. So what you would like to do then is to email into us at support.uk@dahua.tech.com, and just as a first initial email, state that you are requesting a firmware upgrade. We would then send a document to you to complete that would ask you for the model of the device, it will ask you for the serial number of the device, and a couple of other relative questions. Name, company, if you are with a company, just to complete the information, send that back to us. We would then take that information and go and look on our portals and find the latest firmware for that device. And yep, once you got that, you just go click on the link. It would then start downloading that link for you. And once we have that all downloaded, I will show you where to go and what to upload onto your recorder. We will then upload the new firmware onto our recorder. So let me just log into it here. And we will then go and update this recorder. We are going to go system update. So we found the firmware that we are going to be installing into the XVR. We are going to select, and you'll see it will automatically go into the select firmware file. And once you have selected, you can see we are then just going to upgrade, and we're going to let that run. It generally takes some time depending on the model of the recorder, how big, how strong, or how old it is. It all depends on the recorder, how quick it can take or how long it can take. So as you can see, currently the system is updating now. Please wait. So now we just wait and see for it. It's going to reboot. It's going to kick me out of my computer where we've logged into the back end of the recorder. And this will now reboot. So let's give it a few seconds and we should be back online in the next couple of seconds here. Okay, let's just wait for it. So initialization in progress, please wait. So this is now the completion of the firmware. There we go. So now you can see the 5 megapixel has now gone into its full rightful color. Update your firmware via the config tool. So necessary tools to have: your computer, your firmware. I've already loaded mine onto my laptop, and a stable connection between your laptop and the recorder. So we're going to take the next step. We're going to open up the config tool. We are going to search for our product. So in this particular test, I have just directly connected my laptop to the recorder via Ethernet cable. And as you can see, I've got my recorder in front of me. So it's my NVR. And now we want to do an upgrade. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to device upgrade. We are then going to go into the search settings, and this is very important. You want to be able to put in the recorder's password. If you don't put in the password, the upgrade will fail every single time. So that is very important to remember, is to put in your device's password. So at the moment, I've just made mine nice and simple, which is admin 123, and we're going to go OK. So once that is now taken onto the system, I am going to go to the little file icon next to the version, which indicates where you can go and look for your firmware. So my firmware, I've saved it onto my desktop, as you can see, and it pops up immediately. So I'm going to select my firmware. I'm going to select open, and then where you see the little square with the arrow in it, that is your upload file. And once you click upload, you are going to be presented with the next notice. It's just to let you know that you want to keep your connection stable between everything. Otherwise it could cause any form of interruptions with your firmware, which could cause any form of damage between your recorder and the software that it runs. So you then click OK. So as you can see, it's currently upgrading. When it gets to 50%, it's going to slow down for a couple of seconds. And then once it surpasses the 51%, you know your upgrade is taking in full effect into the recorder. And then in the next couple of seconds, you'll be able to see on the recorder, as you see now, that this recorder is now currently doing its firmware upgrade. The recorder is going to reboot after it's done. It generally takes a couple of seconds to minutes, depending on your recorder. How strong your recorder is, if it's a low-end recorder, high-end recorder, all that makes a big difference. So don't get scared if it takes a good couple of minutes to boot up. It is a new software. It does take your system some time to make sure the new software sets into it the way it should. So we're going to give it a couple of seconds up until it reboots again. We are then going to log into the device just to make sure that the firmware that we have uploaded, which is a new 2021 firmware, this device was on a 2019 firmware. So we want to make sure that our new 2021 firmware has taken into the device. So we will take a look the second this is up. And it should take a few more seconds. It's on its main loading screen at the moment. There we go. Okay, so there you can see. So our recorder has now rebooted. So what I'm going to do is I am going to log into the back end of the recorder just to verify that the system has taken its full firmware that we have now redone on it. So let's take a quick look here. So we're going to go admin 123. We are going to take a quick look here. So at this moment we don't have a hard drive in our unit, which is completely fine. We are going to go to maintain. We're going to go to system information, and we are going to look at our build date. So as you can see, our build date is now 2021-07-13. Which is correct. It was currently on a 2019 firmware. So a nice little update for this recorder, which means there's added a little bit of features to it now, which would make it nice. And yeah, that's all it is. So for now, we are going to close this window. Our recorder is updated, and that's all we need to do. Just make sure that you are well prepared for your firmware upgrade, which is very important. Make sure that the firmware that you download for your recorder is the correct model. When you go and search for it, make sure to put in the full model information. And that's about it. Our recorder is now done. We are ready to now commission this recorder to wherever it needs to go in the building. And knowing that when we put new cameras and, you know, whatever we would like to put to it, it will handle it and it will give us the features that we need for it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification for more awesome content coming your way. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you.